In 2002, you were sued for the malfunctioning of an earlier model of the heart stent. Is that correct?
Yes, and we admitted wrongdoing. The stent that was installed in your patient was a new model developed through 3 years of extensive trials.
Making it outside the scope, and frankly, not a good argument for establishing pattern. They saw a problem, and they fixed it. How horrible. We should sue them.
We're not in court. Opening statements are made before a judge. Or have you never been in court before?
I just wanted to give you a taste, seeing as we're never actually going to get there.
A dismissal is never going to happen, son. Sorry for your loss, son.
What?
I'm saying don't hope for a dismissal.
Please direct your questions to our client.
That wasn't a question, it was a comment. Here's a question for you, Mr. Diamond. Was this really worth to you? You may think you have a defense, your lawyer certainly thinks you do. But I just want to be clear about the facts. What is this really worth to you? There's no question. This was a terrible accident. But let's be clear about the facts. His blood alcohol level is an issue here. If you pursue this in court, there's no guarantee you'll receive anything. Think about the boy. Think about what he needs. Something is better than nothing. Stop stalling, Mr. Ross.
He's not stalling, and we're under no obligation to disclose trials from an earlier model. It's beyond the scope.
Our expert will place that study within the scope.
If there isn't a trial, your expert won't have any scope to place it in. And since you insist on asking questions we're under no obligation to answer, this deposition is over. What the hell happened in there?
You said you wanted to watch, not hijack my case.
You said you were gonna kick his ass, not drift into Never Never Land.
I'm handling it.
Handling it? I could have eaten that whole bag of peanuts in the pause you took to answer that question. You got thrown and I bailed you out.
Harvey, this is my case.
This is not your case, it's the client's case. And after what happened in there, they're in a worse position than when we started.
Look, I know I got thrown, but I can still recover.
Maybe, but they're gonna call in a half an hour wanting to take the deal. And when they do, I'm gonna buy you 1 day, and then I'm pulling the plug.
Thank you, but sorry, I don't have time.
It's food. It's not going to stop you. It's going to keep you going.
Yeah, I don't need food. I need to find something I can take to this dismissal hearing tomorrow.
Mike, it was a pretty decent settlement. Would it really be so bad to just take it?
My dad was one of those guys who liked to celebrate everything. The half birthdays or first time I struck someone out at Little League. And the last time I saw them, they were celebrating the anniversary of their first date. They were so excited, all dressed up, and I was annoyed because I didn't want to spend the night at my grandmother's house. So before they left, my dad came upstairs to say goodbye, and I told him that celebrating a first date was stupid. And he just looks at me like, Michael, you have no idea how important a first date can be.
Theirs must have been a great one.
No. It was a total disaster. He spilled wine all over her. He forgot his wallet. And then for some reason, this woman who he knew was just perfect, agreed to a second date. And a third. And everything after that.
I wish I could have met them.
He tried to hug me goodbye. But I didn't hug him back. I didn't even go downstairs to say goodbye to my mom. And then they were gone. And then the next morning, Rinaldi shows up at our house and he offers my grandmother the equivalent of 1 year's rent. Rinaldi didn't kill my parents, but he did try to tell me what their lives were worth. I'm sorry, but I know that my mom and dad were worth A lot more than that.
Forget the food. Give me half the files.
Who am I, darling, to you? Who am I to tell you stories of mine?
Doctor, how routine is this procedure?
Sid Foreman should have been dancing at his daughter's wedding a week later. Instead, he went into heart failure.
Dr. Lombard, on December 7th, 2006, did a patient die on your table during a routine angioplasty?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
It speaks to his qualifications as an expert witness, Your Honor.
I'll allow.
Yes, a patient died.
And was a malpractice suit filed against you for physician error?
That case was sealed.
I didn't ask you if it was sealed. I asked if it was filed.
It was.
And settled.
For almost nothing.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike. The case is sealed. The witness isn't allowed to testify to the details of that settlement.
Sustained.
Have you practiced medicine since?
Yes, I've been practicing.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say is, have you performed surgery, the job you spent 7 years training to do?
No.
What, loss of confidence? They wouldn't let you?
Objection, speculation.
I want an answer to my question.
I chose to do other things.
Other things that don't involve the chance of you killing people?
Objection.
Withdrawn. What's your primary source of income?
I work as an expert witness.
So you testify now to make a living because you don't trust yourself to do the job that you were trained to do?
I can speak to the facts of this case.
Yes, you can speak to them, but how are we supposed to trust your opinion about them when you clearly don't trust yourself?
You raised some doubts about my expert. That isn't going to get this case dismissed.
Maybe not, but if that's the best expert you can come up with, then your client just got a taste of how this trial is going to go.
My client is not going to drop this case, and neither am I.
Well, then you are forcing me to use this.
It's a picture of Mr. Foreman at his daughter's
It's
wedding.
a picture of Mr. Foreman drinking alcohol at his daughter's wedding.
It's a toast. It was one sip.
One sip 2 hours before his stent supposedly malfunctioned. Alcohol was strictly forbidden following his surgery, which makes him liable for his own death.
This is a total twisting of the facts. You can't prove this caused anything.
You can't prove it was only one sip, and it doesn't matter because I submit this, it's contributory negligence, and your case is gone.
And you say I'm a monster.
Being a monster would be putting your client on the stand and making her testify that her husband's death was his own damn fault. You didn't have to come all the way over here just to drop the case.
I came here to tell you you're doing the wrong thing.
I don't need a lecture from you on right and wrong.
You once asked me how I live with myself. Well, somewhere along the way I realized I had a choice not to be on the side that made me feel like you're on that side now.
Yeah, I don't feel like
That's because you're telling yourself you're doing your job. And I'm telling you that you're bullying someone who deserves your sympathy.
You really want to play the bullying card? My grandmother lost her only son. You used her grief against her.
This has nothing to do with that. Look, I know, you need me to be the villain.
No. You are the villain.
Well, then congratulations, because you just became me.
What are you talking about?
Your father had 2 drinks on the night he was killed. That was the reason I was able to get your grandmother to settle.